show. Ha ha ha. The legend of Vox Machina was, Dungeons and Dragons stuff.
The legend of Vox Machina had sex, had violence, and comedy.
The legend of Vox Machina had so many F words that I got tired to count them.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Fallingtowers. Watch the first podcast in which we watch the first episode of a series so that you don't have to. No F words in this one, except sometimes we kind of accidentally do, most of me.
Yeah.
Today, you may have guessed, we are doing a review of The Legend of Vox Machina with co-captain, co-creator, co-champ. He's got his championship belt around his waist. You can't see it because he's not standing. Michael Kenyon Rosenberg.
I got my championship tie on right now.
Well, we also have an actress, a podcaster, genius in her own right, Sasha Kerbal.
Thank you.
My name is Ryan T. Husk, and I call everybody a genius, but this time I mean it. Wow.
Sorry, everyone else.
So for starters, everybody, if you'd like us to review a show, in the comments below, just type in WTF and the show. So you would say, for example, WWF, WTF,
WWF,
or WTF Saturday Night Live, or WTF Airwolf. Ooh, yeah, let's do Airwolf.
First episode of Saturday Night Live is a long one, Ryan, by the way.
Don't do that one.
An hour and a half or something.
And WTF stands, of course, for Watch the First. Whew. So let's talk about this show. How you guys doing?
I'm fantastic. But first, what we need to do is make predictions. Don't you remember your favorite part of the show, Ryan?
Yeah, predictions about this show, though.
Before we talk about the show, we have to make predictions about what we thought the other people thought about this show. Not the show that we're doing, the show that we watched, Legend of Vox Machina.
This is so fun because I was watching this last night, and I was thinking about the predictions because that's the kind of stuff that keeps me up at night.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm getting to the point where I'm not just predicting what you guys felt about the show. I'm predicting what you guys are going to predict about me. I'm like, I want to predict what Mike's going to say about what I'm going to say about what this show said to me. But we won't. Anyway, so that's just how exciting this show is and this game is for us. Michael likes to call this game.
What do I call? Predicaments, because we put ourselves in a predicament by making our predictions. Ryan hates it, but he loves it when I say it.
Yeah. Hey, I like the game so much that I'm okay with Mike giving it a stupid, terrible name.
Beautiful, wonderful, hilarious name. Yep.
All right. So Michael and I have known each other for over 20 years, so we can usually predict what the other person likes or doesn't like. Although I was pretty far off recently, and Mike was a little far off recently as well. So Michael, I predict magic. Mike likes everything with magic. I know he likes Dungeons and Dragons. In fact, one year he gifted me his old Dungeons and Dragons monsters manuals, which was really cool.
It was a double. I had two of them, so I gave you my extra one, but I didn't need two of them anymore.
Oh, I thought you were just sacrificing.
I kind of was, because it's nice to have two of everything. So
yeah. One could be like a coffee table book, or if you have like a table that's like, tilting and you stick it under there. Anyway,
a coffee table.
So yeah. So Michael obviously liked this show because it's Dungeons and Dragons stuff and because there was magic. So Mike's going to be pretty high on this. Not out of this world, but pretty high, like 8.5-ish, like pretty high. Sasha, you're definitely a glass half full type lady. You've told us before that you like to put stuff on when you're in the kitchen or working on stuff or doing whatever, when you're cooking or when you're eating. You just put stuff on and binge it. I think that you may have even actually already watched the second episode of this. I think you enjoyed it. I think it made you laugh. I think you wish that they wouldn't cuss so much because of what you said earlier, but I think you liked it. What do you think, Mike?
Well, Ryan also likes Dungeons and Dragons. He loves fantasy, big fan of Tolkien, huge Tolkien guy. And I think that's
what I'm Tolkien about.
That's what me too. I just said it.
But
Ryan, I think, liked this show because of all the fantasy stuff. He's like, oh, cool. There's like a gnome bard and a gnome healer. And that's so he's into that. But Ryan also loves F words, and he loves to say them a lot, and he loves to laugh when other people say them too. See, I didn't even say the word. I just said that they were F words, and he laughed. So Ryan likes this as well. Sasha, despite what Ryan said, I think that she liked the F words and she laughed at them. And so I think that she's going to like the show as well.
Look how coy she's looking at. She's like, oh, I can't wait to tell you.
Yeah.
Sasha, do you have any predictions for us? Do you think we liked it or didn't?
Oh, absolutely. I've been thinking all night about whether you would like it or not. And my prediction is that both of you liked it to 10 points. I will give 10 points.
Wow.
Because, because it's, I don't know, it's just, it's all that everybody here loves, I guess.
Here in America, you mean?
No, here in this studio.
The three of us?
All the elements.
Okay.
Including playing with cut hand.
Well, it sounds like we're starting to hear that Sasha liked this because she can't imagine anybody not liking this. So everybody at home, you've gotten some pretty good hints as to whether I'd like it, Michael would like it, Sasha would like it. Do you want to go out on a limb and say, nope, somebody didn't like it? Or do you want to agree with us all? Make your predictions in the live chat or in the comments below now. And while you are doing that, Michael Kenyon Rosenberg in a rad purple shirt will tell us what this show is even about.
In a desperate attempt to pay off a mounting bar tab, a band of misfits end up on a quest to save the realm of Exandria from a dark magical force. In this episode, the ragtag group of adventurers known as Vox Machina are commissioned by Sovereign Uriel to find out who or what is decimating villages in the outskirts of Iman.
Nice.
Oh, cool, huh?
All right. But now this is where we get to the nitty gritty, everybody. Everybody's like, okay, well, I made my predictions, predicaments or prediculations. I think.
Yeah, exactly. Predicaments. Yeah.
And they're going to say, well, so what's the answer? Did you or didn't you like it? Well, stay tuned for that because we're about to get into that. But before we do that, we are going to compare and contrast what we expected versus what we got in this crazy conglomeration known as
expectations. That's it.
All right. So we're going to compare and contrast what we expected versus what we got. So first things first, Michael Kenyon you're trying to train us. Michael Kenyon Rosenberg, before you watch this first episode. Oh, what was the title of this first episode? I didn't write that down.
This first episode was titled The Terror at Tal Dorai, Part 1.
Tal Dorai, Part 1. Okay. So Michael Kenyon Rosenberg, before you watch this first episode of The Legend of Vox Machina, entitled The Terror of Val Dorai, Part 1.
Tal.
What? Tal?
Tal, T-A-L.
What did you expect?
I didn't expect anything. I had never heard of this show before it was recommended to us by Eve England, I believe it was. Ryan can check on that, but I think it was Eve England who recommended that we watch this show. And so I had no expectations. The only thing I knew is from looking it up, we knew it was Amazon Prime, and we knew it was fantasy because this month, the month of May, except for, the first episode that was Star Wars Day, but that's kind of fantasy, but we're doing fantasy month. Yeah, we're doing fantasy month of May. The month of May for Fallingtower is fantasy month. So the first episode of the month was science fantasy. It was Star Wars. So it's like science fantasy. It counts. Mm-hmm. It was on Star Wars Day too, so we had to do that. But the rest of the episodes that we're reviewing this month are all fantasy, all month mostly. And so I knew that this was going to be a fantasy show because we're looking for fantasy shows to do this month.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The end.
My favorite month.
My favorite fantasy is pizza and beer all day.
Gross.
I mean, like a beer that I just sip throughout the day.
Yeah. And a slice of pizza that you nibble
makes
on
me
throughout the day.
Feel bloated. Sasha.
Actually, what Ryan would like is a pizza flavored bar because all he eats is bars, really. So
I have so many bars right here. Just look at this. Look at this. I just reach into I have all this health bars. I don't even ever have to leave my seat. Sasha, before you watch this first episode and excluding what you ended up getting, what did you what did you
expect
myself? What did you expect before you watched
this? Is the first part of expectations where we talk about what we expected.
Yeah. Okay. So my expectations were like none. First of all, I'm one of those, I don't remember if I told you already one of the previous episodes, but I'm one of those people who do never read the synopsis. Like if I like how the show, whatever, looks, the trailer, or I don't even watch the trailer, or I heard about the show from someone, I prefer not to read the synopsis. I want to be completely surprised. I don't want to hear like, oh, this is a really fun show about, I was like, don't tell me. And especially like a lot of times in the synopsis, they give away spoilers. Like for instance, the police officers goes on a quest of whatever revenge after his wife dies, and his wife dies on like minute 15 of the movie, and before that they show some like angelic love or whatever, but we already know that she's gonna die, so it's like a waste of everyone's time. So I prefer not to know and to be surprised. So I didn't read about it. I heard about the show from you guys for the first time. I was like, okay, so where are we watching? And I had to refer to the email for like 100 times because I was like, Legend of what? Machina what? And then finally I put it together. And then the first surprise came when turned out.
What?
That was a
you're
close
sneaking into
one.
what you got. You were talking about expectations right now.
She started to dip her toes in.
Oh my God.
Whoa.
Yeah. Okay. So that's what you expected. Very nice. I do similar things here. And yes, it was Eve England that suggested this. So my question to Eve England is, did you suggest this show to us because you like the show? Or did you suggest this show to us because you're like, those guys are infantile. They like cartoons and dragons, and just give them a cartoon. Maybe that's why. So what I expected, I didn't know anything about this show either. I knew it was fantasy. I knew it was animated. I knew it was short. So I was like, okay, let's do that one. But that's really it. Didn't know anything beyond any of that. I didn't even know that it was comedy, or maybe if I knew it was comedy, I had forgotten, but I didn't know that either. But that's what we expected. Michael Kenyon
Ryan's
Rosenberg
dipping his toe into what he got also.
What was that? Oh, comedy.
The comedy.
Michael Kenyon Rosenberg, what did you actually get?
I got a show that was fucking funny, that had a lot of fucking heart. And it was fucking fantasy also.
All right. See, everybody. See. And in fact, I was considering going higher than my prediction for Michael, but we got to stick with it because it was an initial prediction. Because the reason I was thinking that I was
Prediction
like,
time is over, Ryan.
There were like gnomes too. I was like, oh my god, Michael is gonna go
gnomes,
nuts.
elves, a giant. There was like a half orc or an orc or something.
Yeah, Michael is gonna go nuts. Spelled GNUTS for the gnomes. All right, you know where those gnomes are from? No man's land. Hey, Sasha, what did you actually get?
Well, so now I can give away spoilers from what did I see, right?
Correct. Right.
Okay.
What did you get?
First surprise was that it's a cartoon. That was the first surprise. It was a pleasant surprise, but because I love animation. And I was like, okay, here we go. And then I was like, how long is the show? Okay, 25 minutes. Okay, perfect. And I like, let's see. So I will figure out pretty, pretty soon whether it's worth it or not. So I started watching, and then the next surprise was that how wonderfully awful the behavior of the lead characters was. And huge spoiler alert, like puking in someone's mouth. I'm a fan. So, and all these F words and sexual content, I was like, whoa. That's something that usually, and that's, as for no, I'm not going to say it.
You can say it. You can say it now.
Okay. So let's just say that the kids usually suggest to watch shows like this, and then the parents are like, okay, is it nice? And then you count on it being some Disney stuff, and then you watch and you're like, they're cursing, it's so suggestive and whatever. And that's what like teenagers, they somehow find it, although it's probably R-rated or whatever. But so I was pleasantly surprised. I was like, okay, it's gonna be fun. It's not gonna be boring. And then how the story goes. So they don't stay too long.
Well, I think we could talk about the story a little later. I think it sounds like what you got was a lot.
He's excited
of fun.
About it.
Yeah, me too. I don't know if you noticed, but I kind of ventured out of bounds a little bit earlier myself, and I'm very sorry. I'll tell you all what I got.
Okay.
Yeah, I got a show that
it was just definitely a show.
Finally, Dungeons and Dragons animated is back. There was a cartoon called Dungeons and Dragons back in like the 80s or something that I loved just because I don't know if it was really that good, but I just loved it because it had those characters, and it was, a ranger and a warrior and a bow guy or whatever. And this had, and not only that, but this one had a crew that was very similar to what I think people that like Dungeons and Dragons either play or imagine. You've got the bard character and the giant, the half giant or the giant. You've got all these things. There was one character that I was like, get the fuck out of here. But we can talk about that. Overall, what I got was an enjoyable show that basically did exactly what I would have loved to watch when I was a kid, with a couple elements that I thumbed my nose at.
Of course.
Is that a saying? I feel like that's a saying, right?
French. Look at him.
Yeah. Is that now that I'm doing it though, it doesn't make any sense. Is that a saying?
Maybe it's something French people do because they're snooty.
French, definitely.
They definitely look down their nose at somebody.
Yeah, that's a thing for sure.
Okay. So yeah, there are a couple things. I don't know if you guys want me to just get into the things right now, but Michael, I have to say that you were incorrect about the F word stuff, because it's funny to me when it's funny. Like,
you do love F words though.
If they France,
you do use F words all the time.
Oh, I use it, yeah. But it's like, if it's fun, I don't think it's funny to just use the word. I think it's funny
Right.
if it's used in a clever way or when it's unexpected. So personally, I actually
So did you expect it at the beginning when the guy's like, what the fuck?
No, but what's cool about this show is that they tell you immediately what you're in for within the first 5 seconds, and you're hearing this and you're hearing that and you're like, oh, I get it. It's a Rick and Morty kind of, like where they're just going for everything, right? And the puking in the mouth and the guy and they went really naughty, right? Where the dude's the gnome is, I keep wanting to call him a halfling, where he's going, he's down there with the lady and there's like, what are you doing? Oh, you don't want to know, or whatever,
It was hilarious.
But I thought the cussing was a little excessive because I thought that they were leaning on that. I think they were like, we got to throw in a funny part here. Okay, just have them cuss. Like, that doesn't. I actually found this to be not very funny. I found everything. I thought the humor was the least interesting aspect to me.
I can get on board with that too. I mean, because there's so many other things
That's great
to be interested in. I mean, there's a dragon, and it's not
I
a
love
fire-breathing
dragons.
dragon. It's like an electric-breathing dragon or a lightning dragon or something like that. And then you've got the magic. I mean, Ryan's right. I love magic. Magic is wonderful. I love it. It courses through my veins, and I love the electricity of seeing it and feeling it, and just man, this show is just awesome, man. It's like I mean, Ryan's right. I am very hot on this show, but yeah, you've got a few magic users. First of all, you've got the Pike, the healer, who's like these cool shields that she can put up. She can heal people. You've got the Bard with his there's bardic magic and
you totally picture this, right, Michael? When they're doing this, you're like, yes, this is exactly the kind of character I would have in my crew, right?
Oh man, I would. So this kind of mixes. This is based on a Dungeons and Dragons. I think it's based on a Dungeons and Dragons campaign or something like that.
Yeah, it did. As it progressed, I started to think, is this related to that show of people that I don't know if they do a podcast or what it is, but they read their characters, and I forgot what it's called right now. But they had they're wildly popular. I think they did a Kickstarter or an Indiegogo to do this animated show. And so I looked it up, and yep, it is. It is based off of these people that just kind of do the voice. There's like 7 friends or 7 voice actors or whatever, right? And I'm pretty sure. And so that I looked up to confirm, and I forgot what they're called.
Critical Role.
Yeah, Critical Role. That's a clever name. And if I remember correctly, a couple years ago, they did a crowdfunding campaign, either Kickstarter or Indiegogo, to do this show. And it wasn't until the show was nearly over that I started to go, wait a minute, is this that show that they were, anyway. So I can look that up real quick, but I'm almost positive about that as well.
So cool.
But there are also some elements of like World of Warcraft in here too. Like, for instance, you've got the guy with the blunderbuss, the guy who's got the hair like me and the glasses, Mr. White-haired, nice suit guy over there to the left. And yeah, that's kind of and there's the airship. Those kinds of steampunk elements are kind of parts of World of Warcraft. So you've got like there's a class of people, or people call like engine, or there's like it's not a class, it's like a secondary profession that you can have called engineering. So you can make dynamite, you can make guns, and you can make cool traps and stuff like that. And eventually you can make a motorcycle. I think the motorcycle can fly eventually, or you can make a plane or something once you get flight skills. Like it's so that to me is like mixes kind of Dungeons and Dragons and World of Warcraft too. Plus you've got this lady right here. She is kind of like a hunter class in World of Warcraft.
Which
because
lady?
She's got the bow and arrow, the archer.
Vex.
Yeah. So Vex, she's like a hunter from World of Warcraft because number one, she she does damage from afar with her bow and arrow, but also she has an animal companion. She's got the bear, and
That was
the bear is one of,
we were both so happy when we saw. We're
Oh,
like,
man.
yeah, she has a companion.
well, and the bear is like one of my favorite companions when I'm playing a hunter in World of Warcraft, because they can go in, they can take a bunch of damage, and they're soft and cuddly.
Why are you okay with your bear taking damage? That's horrible.
Because I can heal them.
But it hurts the bear. The bear's
But
like,
they're keeping you
ow.
from being hurt. And this bear has armor too, so he's fine.
Sasha, will you tell him that bears just want honey? They're not like, yeah, go ahead and slice me up as long as you can heal me.
Yeah, bears, they want honey, they want to cuddle. They are soft and nice and kind. And
You're also forgetting they want fish. They want berries.
We need a disclaimer at the bottom that says bears do not necessarily want to cuddle. Do not try this at home. This is we're not saying go find a bear and cuddle with it and be like, well, Sasha said.
right. And no, we don't want that. So disclaimer, if you're not prepared, I'm from Russia. I can't deal with bears. They usually walk the streets, as everybody knows. Like it's
scary.
So bears are not a problem for me, but for you, dear audience, the bear might be a problem. Might bear a problem.
Dear audience. Yes. So that Michael, you just touched on the other aspect that didn't work for me. And that was this Weisenheimer here. I'm like, well, what is this? 1901 all of a sudden? Why is, I get this is fantasy and you can put whatever you want, but we're not going to put like some, guy in a Jetsons car, or we're not going to have a guy with a Star Trek phaser. Like, what's this with this time travel stuff? This guy doesn't belong here. And not only did the character not belong there to me, but he also didn't seem to belong in the crew. Like, he didn't do much.
He's kind of weak.
Yeah, we didn't see him. I don't even remember seeing him use his gun, even though like
he used it a few times.
Okay, like
I think he will use his intellect. That's, I think, what we might.
I agree.
I think stay home with his intellect then, and just
But I mean, I don't understand why Ryan thinks that he doesn't belong in this universe that isn't even our universe. It's a completely different universe than ours.
I understand that, but like, it just doesn't seem to fit. Sure, you can make anything up. Like I said, he could have a shuttlecraft if he wants, or a Star Trek phaser, or what he could, but it wouldn't feel like it fits within this world of barbarians and wizards and knights. Just what we've been programmed to believe fits in those kind of. I think when we think
you've been programmed to believe.
Right,
I've read
I think of fantasy
books where
I think of Middle Ages, right? That's kind of where you fit in. Middle Ages, archers, warriors, barbarians, priestesses, druids, that kind of stuff. You don't think, a guy with a gun. I don't.
So basically what Ryan's saying is he's ignorant to other types of fantasies.
Yes.
Yeah. He's a strictly Tolkien guy.
Or no, I mean, look, I guess I'll say it this way. He doesn't, the time that he seems he comes from does not fit with the time
from our universe.
The time that these others do. Like, they all seem to fit with each other. They're wearing robes and garments like that, and they're, wizards, and they're, wearing animal pelts and things like that. And so they all seem to match themselves as far as theme and time and realm. And he seems to be the outsider there.
A little bit, but I think there will be an explanation for that. And I think that the team just needs some steampunk element there on their team, who can engineer something. They can do magic. Maybe his magic is, I don't know, engineering some crazy things. So who knows? I think they will, keep something for him interesting that we will see in the further episodes.
That's a good point, though. I mean, they might actually explain it. They might actually just say, you're from a different time or whatever, which
Ryan's so hung up on matching this world with
He
our
just
world.
he doesn't seem to fit their world, is what I mean. He doesn't, they all seem to fit within the same, genre or feeling or theme. And he seems to be,
He's definitely some different tribe, but I guess that they will let us know why is that so.
and I thought his person, did we even get much of his personality? The others, like, you can already say, oh, that is such a Grog thing to say, or, oh, Spurlink, or what was Scanlon, that rascal.
Yeah.
We
That
know
little
what they
scamp.
act. Right. Yeah. This guy, we're like, oh, Percy, you still are there.
It's like that he's one of those, like those quiet guys that don't talk to anyone, sit in the corner at the party and quietly getting drunk. And those turned out to be like the craziest ones in the end when everybody dropped already drunk. And then those ones are the most dangerous one to watch.
Shout out to our
for
friend
them.
Kristen Onesto. Am I right, Mike?
Okay. I mean,
Yeah.
she's like that. She's crazy. She'll kill you. Is that what you're saying?
Maybe. Maybe. Yeah. Okay, but now that we've touched the subject on I guess we could probably say my least favorite character. Let's talk about who is our favorite character on this show. Michael, I'm going to predict
in a segment that we like to call, in a segment that we all of us love to call Favcac. Who's your favorite character? Who's your Favcac?
Michael,
Brian does not like my names, but that's his least favorite name that I've come up with.
Michael's favorite characters are Grog and Scanlon. But anyway, Michael, who's your favorite character in this?
Well, not correct. I did like Scanlon. I did like that. So Bard is one of my favorite classes.
Yeah.
But another one of my favorite classes, especially one of my favorite classes to play, is Druid.
Yes.
And so Caliph, she is probably the most powerful magic user out of anybody in the group, because she single-handedly saved them all from the rocks that were falling that the dragon made fall on them.
Didn't you think it was going to be the priest that's it? Because I thought that at that moment that they were going to come out and the priest was going to be holding a shield like that. So it was a really cool, interesting reveal to see that the druid did. Yeah. Well,
and also there was a part of me that kind of thought that she would be able to connect with the dragon and like tame him or something like that. But there's another interesting aspect about the dragon, which I definitely want to get into. But my Favcac is Caliph, the druid.
Okay, Sasha, the pressure's on. Who's your favorite character?
Favcac.
Okay, now
who's your Kofefe?
Yeah, so I thought that your favorite characters will be the bear, and I don't know the names of the character. I just didn't. They don't hold in my head.
Trinket.
Oh, okay. So yeah, this girl is my favorite character.
Same,
Caliph.
Same
that's
Michael,
mine. That's my favorite. Yeah, Caliph. Yeah.
And the guy who I would definitely date is
Whoa, I'm glad you went past that guy. I was like, whoa.
Vax, right? Vax.
Yeah, correct.
Vax and Vex.
Vax and Vex. Yeah.
Well, it seemed to me there was a little bit of a thing between those two, Caliph and Vax.
Oh, yeah.
There were some eyes made.
She could do better.
There are two couples that are forming.
She could do better. She needs to. Oh, yeah, I guess Grog's already got a girl.
A druid and a rogue. Did those go together though? Are they compatible? We'll talk about alignments in a little bit.
Oh, I think a druid and a rogue is well, no, you're right about alignments though. Boy, oh boy. There's some clashing there, but opposites attract, as Paul Abdul and that other guy that nobody knows would say.
MC Scat Cat.
MC Scanlon. Is it really Scat Cat?
Or cool cat or Scat Cat or cool cat or something?
Scat Cat just sounds gross. Sounds like a cat box. Anyway, so because scat everybody knows is poop. So my favorite character, this is tough because honestly, I kind of it's easier for me to say which ones are not my favorite character. Like dude, douche bro, no thanks, pal. No thanks, Percy. Nothing personal, but no thanks. And the twins, I'm gonna find them interesting characters, but I don't think they would be like my favorite as far as personality goes, because we know that character. I mean, these were all like stereotypical type characters. We know what the giant always acts like. We know that they're always like heart of gold, but they're rowdy and they want to fight. We know that they're very stereotypical characters. But yeah, I agree with you guys. They pronounced her Keyleth, though, even though it's pronounced like it should have been pronounced Kaleth. I'm a nerd for that stuff. I literally wrote down everybody's names and exactly how it was spelled. It took me forever to get through this episode because I'm like pausing and doing all this stuff. But it's really interesting because you're getting so many new characters and they're all so different. And you want to know what they do, because what they are is just as important as who they are in Dungeons and Dragons. It kind of dictates their role, their critical role in the group. I really liked Keyleth. I really liked Grog. I really liked Scanlan, maybe a little less. Normally, I don't tend to like that character because I feel like when people write that type of character, they're trying too hard. They're trying too hard to make them like too cool and too rascally. But, this wasn't too bad. So he actually worked out pretty well because he was funny. And he was really clever when he said, I'm just trying to find a word that rhymes with dead dragon or something like that. I was like, that's our Scanlan. That's the heart Michael was talking about right there, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm. Good heart. And out of the other characters, the other 6 or 7 characters in the hall or the council, I kept track of them, but they were less interesting. And I'm glad that I took all these notes on them and I really didn't need to. It's not that important really, except for to figure out which one of them is the double crosser. Yeah.
So let's talk alignments then. Pike is obviously lawful good.
Yeah. She's sweet.
Lawful good.
She's
the
a
priest.
Sweetie.
Yeah.
Is she a gnome as well? She seems to be.
It looked like it. There looked like there was something between her and Scanlan too. Maybe some glances.
Or maybe she's a hobbit.
I think they're both gnomes. I don't know if there's hobbits in this. I mean, in Dungeons and Dragons it'd be called a halfling, but I don't know if they are, and if there are any hobbits in this show shown so far. I mean, they've called Scanlan a gnome, and she's like about the same stature, same look. I didn't see any hairy feet, so I don't know if we could call any of them halfling or hobbit.
Good knowledge.
She's definitely lawful good. Scanlan seems like he is a chaotic neutral. Thoughts? Sasha looks a little confused. So basically you've got chaotic and lawful, and then there's a neutral also, and then you've got good and evil, and there's also a neutral.
Because he's probably chaotic neutral, because he's certainly not
maybe more towards good, leaning towards
because at the end he kind of reveals a little bit of that. He's the one that starts the revolution of doing the right thing, basically. And this was not based off money. It was based off of morals, is what actually changed their minds. But he wouldn't be chaotic good. So he's chaotic neutral plus.
Right.
What do you think, Sasha?
I am a little bit confused with all of that. I just like the guy. That's all I know.
She's like, I think you guys are chaotic nerds.
You're like really nerdy right now.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I loved it, but I didn't memorize the names and I could not like analyze and compare it really. But I just think that as for the characters, I didn't watch Dungeons and Dragons, and so I don't know. I didn't have that experience, but what I know is that here I really like the group of characters that they assembled together, and that how they interact with each other, and how they really it's like the side of one's character, like we all have these facets, and it's like several facets that go together very, very nicely. So I don't know. And that's why they need each other. That's why they're a group. Because they kind of fit, I don't know, they all like fit something like one big force that we need. So I don't know. So that's what I've noticed, and that's what I like. And so it's interesting to watch them, how they develop.
In Dungeons and Dragons, if you're going to play a druid, you have to be true neutral. So assuming that these guys are basing this show on Dungeons and Dragons, Keyleth would have to be true neutral. But then Vax, our rogue, he would definitely be chaotic. And I feel like he's leaning towards neutral as well.
Is Vax a rogue? Really? I didn't.
Well, I mean, he said like master of stealth or something like that, which tells me he's a rogue.
Okay. Yeah. Could be. By the way, the Dungeons and Dragon things, just real quick. So I did do a quick search, and it was the guys that I'm thinking of. Look at this. Yeah. So this was their Kickstarter, right? 88,000 backers, $11 million they raised.
Wow.
I knew that it was like big news because they have a huge following. Their show is really big. And so them doing, a Kickstarter to do an actual, real life or a TV show, of course it's going to blow up. There's Bear Guy that we love. So so there it is. $11 million to make this series very successful. Oh, here are the people right here. Is one of them the bear? Because that's 8 people.
Absolutely.
Well, if you look to the right of them, there's a bear there.
Oh, look,
there is a bear.
No, there's the answer. Look at this guy's shirt. There's an extra name, Tiberius. So that means there's going to be another character that comes on later named Tiberius.
Ooh.
Interesting. Or maybe that's the bad guy. Anyway, what were you saying, Sasha?
No, I had it was a stupid question that all the nerds will kill me after the show. But I'm a girl. Okay, and the nerd girls, they're gonna kill me right now. But okay,
well, they should.
Yeah. What was first? The TV show Dungeons and Dragons or the game Dungeons and Dragons?
The game.
Oh, the game was and then
the game was first.
The show is much smaller than the game. The show was just, I don't even know if Dungeons and Dragons itself made the show or if just somebody just made a cartoon and was allowed to use that name. But the game itself is, it's kind of something that a lot of other things have been built from. It's almost like the base level understanding of fantasy for a lot of people, like where they sprout their ideas from.
Well, but it should be mentioned also that all fantasy was born from J.R.R. Tolkien. But also J.R.R. Tolkien based all of his fantasy on myths and legends collected from the British Isles. And not only the British, but
his biggest influence was Beowulf.
Yeah.
So that's also really cool. Which was what, like Dutch or something? No, Danish.
Right? No, it was English. It was an English.
Then maybe it just takes place in Denmark. I thought
it was written in Old English. No, it takes place on the Isle of England, of Britain.
All right, I'm looking this up.
I studied Beowulf. I've read Beowulf in the original Old English.
Okay, so here it is.
Oh, really? Oh.
Okay, Beowulf is an Old English epic poem in the tradition of Germanic heroic legend consisting of 3,182 alternative lines or alliterative lines.
Alliterative,
Yeah, okay. Oh, the poem opens in Denmark where Grendel is. Okay, see, I knew it took place in Denmark, but it was written in English in England. Right. Okay, cool. Right. Good to know. All right. So, Sasha, sorry for boring the hell out of you. You're like, I really like this show. I didn't know that I was going to get stampeded by stuff that I don't care about. I just want to talk about a cool show. Sorry, that's what we do.
I love that. That's how I get my nerd education.
Speaking of nerd education, let's talk about you for a bit. Sasha.
Okay.
You are an actress. You are currently in the middle of filming 2 films, a comedy miniseries. with you as a principal cast member, which is awesome. It's going to be released this year, right?
Yeah.
And you're also going to be filming in a movie in Canada, and in the fall, another movie in Pennsylvania. Wow, this is nuts.
Yeah.
What do you want to tell us about first?
Well,
She's on fire.
Yeah.
How about the one in Pennsylvania? Because you're going to be playing a half human, half demon. So no acting necessary for that one, huh?
I know. I will do
Easy.
Exactly. And so, so they finally saw it in me, and they're like, oh, okay, boom, cast. So I don't know much yet myself, and whatever I know, I'm not allowed to disclose. But that's going to be cool, and it's going to be again in Pennsylvania. I've just recently came from Pennsylvania. Well, recently is like 2 months ago. Time flies. Where we filmed that comedy show. It was so much fun. It's completely different, and it was like everybody had a lot of fun. And I got that audition. I was taping this audition for the comedy show when I was sick with COVID. I got through COVID.
Oh no!
And I had 2 auditions, and I booked both parts.
Nice.
Wow.
That's your secret. Yeah. That's your secret weapon.
Right? Yeah, exactly. COVID was my secret weapon. I booked a part. And so
disclaimer, do not get COVID to book
you guys
parts.
You're right, Michael.
You're directing you on a dangerous path here.
Yeah, don't go lick doorknobs before an audition.
No COVID, no bears. So let's not do that. But seriously, it's this show, so I flew to Pennsylvania. I didn't see much of the state because we were constantly busy. And then all of a sudden, and I was like, I wish I could stay there longer, at least to see the sightseeings, and all of that, to get a taste of the state. And here I am booking this other part, and I was like, where are you filming? In Pennsylvania. I was like, okay, that's my second chance. And then the comedy show, it's called Recipes for Love. And it's going to be, I think it's going to be released in June, if I'm not mistaken. I need to ask my manager about that. She knows more. But also, I'm now in the middle of 2 films. One has a long name. It's called PTSD: A Soldier's Revenge. It's about the military and how the lead character deals with all of that, and with PTSD and with other problems that comes from her job at home. And another one is called American Trash. It's a super cool movie. It's a directorial debut of Robert Lasardo. I'm so happy and proud to be a part of this project. So can't wait for everyone to see it, but I think it will all be by the end of the year or the next year. And then there is another one when I'm also playing some otherworldly character. That's a TV show in Canada that I'm going to in June. So it's a lot of fun, and all these roles that I really wanted to play. So stay tuned. I will be informing as soon as I know something. Be happy.
We're very happy that you're so busy, man. How do you even have time to talk to us today?
I know. Right? She's neglecting her other duties probably right now. She's calling from set. Yeah, thanks, Sasha. That's amazing.
Memorize the lines, and so I'm gonna do it after. That was my plan for today.
Well, we really appreciate you taking a moment away to watch this show and to participate in this show. And your duties to us are almost done. It's now time for the most important part of the show, besides that part that we just did with you, by the way. Michael's doing the karate chop, which means it's time for the Terrible Twos.
The bottom line.
Sasha, what's a better name for the final 2 questions of the show? The Terrible Twos or the bottom line?
Where we get down to really what the crux of this show is for us, what the bottom line of the show for us. What do you think is a better name?
Yeah, what are these 2 terrible best episodes?
Or bottom lines?
So what was the choice?
Bottom line it is. Okay.
All
Everybody,
right, moving
bottom
on.
line.
All right. So terrible twos, the final two questions
Bottom
of
line.
the show, the two most important questions. Here they come, fast and furious.
They're really the bottom line, these two questions. Yeah.
Michael Kenyon Rosenberg. This is tough, Sasha. You're going to be put on the spot. But luckily, Michael goes first because he's the trailblazer. He's the brave one. On a scale of 1 to 10, Michael, what would you give this first episode of The Legend of Vox Machina, entitled The Terror at Tal'Darai Part 1?
Part 1 only, yeah. I really have to think about this, and then I have to just look at my notes that I made the number already. It's 8.9 for me. I liked it a lot. Ryan was right. He was a little bit off on his prediction. He said 8.5.
Yeah, but I was going to go to 9.
Higher than that.
Wow, you were so close. What didn't you like about it? Or is it another question?
We've already covered that. Well, yeah, Michael didn't really say anything that he didn't like about it. That's true.
I mean, it was a really good show. It wasn't like a great, fantastic
Why-
show that was making me go like, oh dang, oh whoa, ah, ha, 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 ha. It was just like
You did do that. You did.
it was like, oh cool, and ha 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 ha. So it wasn't like, whoa, ha ha ha. That would be a 10.
So
Okay, got it. Now I understand.
Sasha, on a scale of 1 to 10, what would you give this first episode?
10, 10, 10, 10. And
Why
I will
not
tell
higher?
it's just, it's just because it was so amusing, so unexpected. And and Ryan was right. I almost watched episode 2, but then I was like, you know what? I cannot do that because it will not be fair. I don't want to get ahead. But believe me, guess what I'm going to watch tonight?
Oh, yeah.
Episode 2.
And 3 and 4 and 5, I'm going to binge the show. There's nothing left to watch. So
No.
I'm thinking 10, and I think if there are little small things that maybe weren't like, I don't know, like super, super cool, like, yeah, too much cursing or whatever, like that character that is not explained yet, I think we will see either more explanation or less of that, because it's sort of like first episodes always they establish the show, so they want to make sure that they get the attention. So maybe then it will like cool down a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so it's a 10, and she also already answered the second question.
Oh, I did. Dang,
Oh, yeah,
I
that's right. I glazed over because as soon as she said that, my first thought was whether it's going to be a show that she actually gives her full attention to binge or that she just puts on while she's doing other stuff. But you don't have to answer that yet.
Yeah.
On a scale of 1 to 10, I'm going to tell everybody that this show,
Okay.
for me,
Or Ryan.
yeah, look, 8.1.
Wow.
I think for me it could be a very enjoyable show because I love all of the stuff that they're touching on. But I think that cussing just for cussing's sake almost takes you out of it, because if you're doing anything that feels forced, whether it's just cussing or gratuitous nudity or gratuitous violence out of nowhere that doesn't have any reason for it, then it's not really like that interesting. It actually kind of takes you out of the moment because you start thinking, oh, that I wasn't expecting that, not necessarily in a good way. So I think if they iron that out and not just throw bad words in there, just be like, can you believe it? We just cussed. We're going to do it again too. Just watch.
It's a cartoon. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, okay, it would have worked better, I think, if they just did it 2 or 3 times or just put it in places where you expect it. Like at the beginning when they're like, holy shit or whatever. You're like, oh, I get it. But that's not really a huge knock against it. I think it's just something that they'll probably iron out later, hopefully, because it's more sophisticated writing, I don't think would cram stuff in that doesn't need to be in there. But it was other than that, like it's exactly what I'm looking for out of life. It's short, it's easy to watch, it's fast
Ryan's
paced.
getting into the second question also.
It has clearly defined characters. It's enjoyable. However, would I watch the second? Well, we're about to find out, everybody.
Right.
Michael Kenyon Rosenberg, question number 2 is, for the purposes of this podcast, we all had to watch the first episode of The Legend of Vox Machina. Now that the podcast is over and we're free to move about the internet, would you, of your own volition, freely and unforced, watch the second episode?
There's two things I want to talk about.
One is yes, you would.
The number one thing is I really liked, we didn't really get a chance to talk about everything about the show because there's so much to talk about. I really liked the animation. They weren't trying to be like some kind of fancy anime. It looked like 80s Saturday morning cartoon animation or like afternoon after school animation. And I really like that. I mean, they weren't trying to be too fancy, but it was just enough. And then you can see from my background, like the whole sky behind them is awesome. Like everything about the animation was really good to me. The second thing I want to talk about is when they were tracking that dragon into the bushes, they noticed human footsteps, which makes me think that either somebody is there with the dragon or that the dragon is a shapeshifter.
Yes,
that they can drag, that they shapeshift from a human to a dragon. So that is enough mystery for me to be, and all the other good things about it.
And
for
part
me,
of their
I will
history.
And history and gummy berry juice. I will definitely be watching the second.
Yeah. I real quick, I definitely agree on the animation style. I don't like it when animation tries to get so stylized that it kind of takes you out of it, that you're like, people just don't look like that, or you know what I mean? Like it just takes me out of it. This one keeps it simple. Saturday morning cartoons. These are what they look like, not too crazy. Sasha, of your own volition, would you watch the second episode?
Well, as I released the spoiler already earlier, I definitely am going to watch the second and the rest of them. However, you asked me about whether I'm going to watch it like full attention or while cooking or something. Absolutely full attention. Because, I want to focus on that, and it's easy and it's beautiful and I love the animation and all of that. So we'll see.
You're going to treat it like a true 10. Perfect.
Yeah, absolutely. A true 10. And especially, also part of my 10 is, well, I already had a 10 on my mind, but also a big part of it is your research that you did about that, that they had this, crowdfunding campaign. That this is so cool. And I'm all for, supporting these things. So like a dream come true for everyone, right?
Well, for most everybody.
Here's the real question.
As for me,
is Ryan gonna open our mouths and puke into it?
I kind of always do that, really. Not only would I watch the second episode, but I may actually do it. I may actually make it a point to watch the next episode because I love this stuff. And I feel like there just is not nearly enough of this kind of stuff. I feel like the supply definitely does not match the demand for this. I feel like we're getting tons of live action fantasy. Thank goodness, ever since Lord of the Rings came and opened that door where they're like, oh, people like this. Yeah, nerds love this. Oh, let's make more. And then suddenly everything's everywhere. But as far as this animated stuff, like, or maybe it's happening everywhere and we just don't know about it. But I'm like, I feel like this is the first of this kind that we've seen since the 80s. So I'm very happy that there's this going on. I'm not 100% sure how much I like it. I feel like, we'll see, but there's certainly enough good elements in this for me to be happy that this exists. I hope that they kind of iron a couple things out and get rid of old Poindexter here, which I'm sure they won't. Sorry, I don't mean to pick on you, Poindexter. I just don't like you. But that's about it.
Right now,
everybody.
Eve England is saying, I knew it. I knew they would like it.
Yeah, we could talk about this for like 3 hours. Honestly, we could just go on for. We didn't even talk about why Grog is so cool and how much we like him and how perfect he is. And we know exactly that kind of character. All these characters are so perfectly stereotypical. They're great. Anyway, that's about it for us. So everybody at home, if you'd like us to review something, just do what Eve England did when she made the suggestion. Say WTF and whatever show you'd like us to do in the comments below, and we will totally review it maybe. So
Yeah, we'll totally consider it. We'll definitely put it in our spreadsheet with your name next to it, and then we'll think about that one.
we have like 100 of these things in our spreadsheet. So
More
we
than that, I
hope
think,
you're
yeah.
enjoying Fantasy Month. There's more fantasy coming soon. And what I'm trying to say is this podcast was a nerd's fantasy.
This podcast was bear-tastic.
This podcast was very nerd educational for ordinary people like me.
Ordinary half demons. All right, everybody at home, thank you so much for joining us. We will
It was
see you
very
next time.
bearable. That's a better one.
That's better. Your first joke was unbearable. Or pun, I guess I should say. Look, everybody, please give this video a like. If you're listening in, give it 5 stars, comment below, share with your friends, tell everybody you know, shout it from the rooftops, and always remember what Mr. Michael Kenyon Rosenberg likes to say.
Don't forget to register to be an organ donor, please. And once you've done that, don't forget to watch the first of things.